Democrat socialists, they aren't very likable people. That is the subject of tonight's preamble. Before last night's debate, President Trump made a statement about his contracting the China virus.
For me, I walked in, I didn't feel good. A short 24 hours later, I was feeling great. I wanted to get out of the hospital. And that's what I want for everybody. I want everybody to be given the same treatment as your president, because I feel great. I feel like perfect. So I think this was a blessing from God that I caught it. This was a blessing in disguise. I caught it. I heard about this drug. I said, let me take it. It was my suggestion. I said, let me take it. And it was incredible the way it worked. Incredible.
Wow. There's the leader of the free world saying that his illness was a gift from God because he could help people to survive and recover from this unnecessary pandemic through his own experience. Now, in related news, leftists were also laughingly talking about God and the China virus yesterday, but they were offering a quite different conclusion.
COVID is God's gift to the left. This is a terrible thing to say. I mean, I think it was a very difficult thing to send down to us, but it has ripped the Band-Aid off who he is and what he stands for.
Okay, so there was the Viet Cong's favorite pinup girl, Jane Fonda, saying that God gifted the China virus to the godless Democrat Socialist Party as a mechanism to get rid of President Trump. First, does anyone believe that Fonda has any connection whatsoever with the Almighty? Secondly, where Trump touted his own illness as a gift to help others, Fonda, a Democrat socialist in good standing, touted the virus that has allegedly killed over 211,000 Americans as a gift to score political points. What a wicked and vicious heart that woman has. Unlike treacherous Democrats, the president assured Americans that he will hold those who are responsible for all of those American deaths accountable.
Get for you what I got, and I'm going to make it free. You're not going to pay for it. It wasn't your fault that this happened. It was China's fault, and China's going to pay a big price what they've done to this country. China's going to pay a big price what they've done to the world. This was China's fault.
Now, in the debate, Kamala Harris, like every other Democrat socialist, refused to decry China's attack on the U.S. and the world. Instead, she thought she'd instill fear in Americans, fear of a vaccine that is nearing completion and distribution.
If the public health professionals, if Dr. Fauci, if the doctors tell us that we should take it, I'll be the first in line to take it. Absolutely. But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
Wow. The fact that Kamala Harris carried the Democrats' anti-vaxxer banner into last night's debate drew a sharp criticism from Vice President Pence.
Because the reality is that we're going to have a vaccine, Senator, in record time, in unheard of time, in less than a year. We have 5 companies in phase 3 clinical trials, and we're right now producing tens of millions of doses. So the fact that you continue to undermine public confidence in a vaccine, if the vaccine emerges during the Trump administration, I think is unconscionable. And Senator, I just ask you, stop playing politics with people's lives.
You know, folks, I'm afraid his pleas fell on deaf ears, like Jane Fonda, who disgustingly proclaimed that the China virus was a gift from God to the godless left. Senator Harris showed that she'd endanger more American lives just to take a political swipe at President Trump. That's not very nice at all. But the Biden camp has made a cottage industry out of inhuman and disgusting behavior throughout this entire year. The Harris-Biden ticket has claimed that they would do a much better job with the virus. They said this would be accomplished by following their plan on Biden's website. The only problem is that plan looks awfully familiar.
The reality is, when you look at the Biden plan, it reads an awful lot like what President Trump and I and our task force have been doing every step of the way. I mean, quite frankly, when I look at their plan that talks about advancing testing, creating new PPE, developing a vaccine, it looks a little bit like plagiarism, which is something Joe Biden knows a little bit about.
Now, for those of you who don't know, Biden has a long history of ripping off other people's stuff and claiming it as his own. His lack of original thought has torpedoed his past attempts to run for president. Mike Pence, on the other hand, remained true to, well, who he is in last night's debate. He was serious, informed, earnest, and kind.
But I'm just extremely grateful and was more than a little moved by the broad and bipartisan support. And Senator, I want to thank you and Joe Biden for your expressions, genuine concern. And I also want to congratulate you, as I did on that phone call, on the historic nature of your nomination.
Thank you.
I never expected to be on this stage 4 years ago, so I know the feeling.
What a class act. At no point in last night's debate did Kamala Harris show such dignity and class. Never once did she thank the vice president for his tireless work battling the China virus. In fact, Kamala Harris never uttered a kind word for her political opposition during the entire debate. Now, I don't want to single her or Jane Fonda out. They're not unlike the vast majority of elected Democrat socialists. They're mean, callous, vindictive, and dishonest. Win at all costs, no matter who gets hurt. This contrast might explain the numerous emails I received today from mostly women who said that Vice President Mike Pence was a statesman and a good man, while Kamala Harris was a phony, two-faced serpent, not likable at all.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.